All right, so I'm here with Lucy again, who has recently picked up Willow. She's completed her kindergarten, first grade training.
Yep.
And now she's back home. And when we were there, your husband was telling me that he thought feeding time was a bit dangerous for you.
Right.
And he had some concerns about that. So then we ended up talking about that and saying that maybe I should come over here to your farm and see if we can help this be safer. But can you tell us a little bit about what's been happening at feeding time?
What they do is they crowd you to get the first bite, right? And it was just too much.
And you were walking in with a hay wagon and they were kind of mobbing you?
Yes.
Is that what was going on?
Absolutely.
Have you had any close calls while you were feeding?
Yes. Willow knocked me over trying to get out of the way of Asa, and she just literally pushed me into a wall. I had to go to the hospital and get my hand in a sling, and it was swollen and just basically a bad sprain. But
I would like to have you show me kind of your routine, and then I'll kind of show you what I might do differently to kind of set it up, make it a little safer. Sound good?
Yep, that's fine.
All right, let's get started.
All right.
Now, do you just hang them on the fence and you don't have to go in? You have to
Nope.
go in.
I have to go in.
Okay, so I get the idea.
Okay.
And I think we're going to start training now. I don't need to see you go in there and get mobbed to see
Okay.
what's happening. Would you have any strategy to get them away from the gate when you walk in?
Yeah, I take a carrot stick. Well, okay, two things. I take a carrot stick if I know they're up here, and I try to get them in. But when I turn my back to shut the gate, they're like right here. The other thing is I sit at my desk in my office, and I wait till they're in the pasture, and then I run out here.
Oh. So I'm going to stop you here. I'm going to show you how to set this up a little safer.
Okay.
So there's going to be two parts to this.
All right.
So number one is we need to create a barrier around the feed cart, whether you have hay in here or grain, that it's an invisible barrier. And the only reason there's a barrier is because you're going to decide there's a barrier. How you demonstrate to them that there's a barrier is you're going to apply pressure with a stick and string or the flag if they come into the barrier. Okay? So you would put pressure on here.
Okay.
You can see which one just come back from training.
Right. The good one.
He's like, what do you got there? So we got to create that barrier. The second thing though is, and this is the part that takes a little more time, you got to create a pattern. So you got to do this regularly. So you're not going to give them a cue to move away from this. It's going to be their job to move. And if they don't move, you're going to reach out and touch them with the flag or the stick and string.
Okay.
Okay? They have to respect that, just like the fence or something like that.
Okay.
Then the other part is, and I'm glad you haven't had trouble with this, but for a lot of people, feeding time is super dangerous because even if the horses respect your space really well, they might be fighting with each other over who gets to eat first. And if you get caught in the middle of that, they're not thinking about you, they're thinking about the herd dynamics, and you can get run over pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that have been injured at feeding time. And so we're going to create a pattern that none of them get to go to their grain. And do they all have the same grain?
Yes.
Okay, so that makes it easier.
Sorry.
You got me good. All right, where were we? So we're gonna teach them that they all have to stand still and be settled before you go okay, and then you leave. And until you give them the okay, you can use whatever cue you want. You can be a hand signal. I know people that do the hand down. If you haven't seen it, look up Ron Pine at Feeding Time. Shout out to Ron Pine. He's a Canadian horsemanship instructor. He's like one of the best in the world at this. Very, very good. And he has a feeding time video with his herd of like 9 horses that he's practiced this a lot, and it's very high level. So go back and watch that video. So we're got to get them to stand still before you give them the okay, now you can go eat.
Okay.
Okay, so they can't go eat until you tell them they can. Okay? So if it's
long do
okay
you
with
have?
you, I'm going to do this first.
Okay.
And then I'll have you do it.
Okay.
But before I even go with the feed cart, I'm going to go in and establish some respect for the personal space.
Okay.
So we have 2 choices of tools that we can use. We can use the stick and the flag. This is a tool that is very good for big space, and for those of you that don't want to have to touch your horse, you can create a big personal space bubble. You can see how visual that is. It's very big, loud. Now, if you have a horse, some horses are in, basically this works if they're a little afraid of it. Like we saw Willow respect it and kind of step back. The other ones were like, "What's that?" They weren't afraid of it at all. So if they're desensitized to it, this is only a bluff. You can't actually be effective with a horse with this. Okay. This is a bluff. So if they're not afraid of this, then you have to get that one to the side. And then you'd use the stick and string. What I like about the stick and string is, and this is our rule on our farm when we're feeding, is to the end of the string from my arm. This is the space that the horses need to respect around the feed cart, whether it's the wheelbarrow, the bucket, whatever it is, wherever the human is and around the feeding vehicle, they need to stay out of that space. And if they come in that space, I'm not going to warn them. I'm going to go take that space, which just means I'm going to step and I'm going to own that space. And if there's a horse in there, it's going to get touched with it. And some of you are going to have a meltdown when you hear me say that. But horses, if they decide, this is how they decide with each other who gets to eat first, is they're going to go after each other with their teeth or their 2 feet, kicking at each other, and they're going to drive them out. So you don't have to do this hard, but you do have to give them an actual physical touch there to say, hey, this is the personal space. Now, again, if a person didn't want to do that, you could just use the flag. And for more sensitive, spooky horses, that's going to work for a while. Eventually, that possibly they could learn to wear it, the bag, the feed sack, okay? So with your herd, let's try the flag first, and then we'll transition to the stick and string if we need to. Okay. Say I cleared some space around. Now, is that already better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I do that harder than what you normally would do it?
I don't do it at all, so yes.
I like your honesty. I don't do it all. You need to start doing it, okay? So part of why I said that is that horses don't know me. And so what they do know of me already is that I mean business, right? I walk in here and I kind of acted like it's my paddock. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So now, before I distribute the goods, all I'm teaching them is that there's no reason to be afraid or whatever, but they got to respect space. So there's a couple horses standing here, and I walked in, they should have stepped away. The feed cart has a force field around it that they have to respect. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you guys can see they all moved a little bit further away, but they're standing there. Now I'll go play Santa Claus. Oh, these are pretty handy little feeders. And you want one on all 4 sides?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. Just keeps them further apart.
Now look at here. I can put the flag in the cart. I can distribute the feed. So you can see it didn't take a whole lot there. Oh, we got one visitor. So even though it's not a big deal, like some of you are going, oh, well, they're already put out. Why wouldn't you let them eat? Because I'm still here. And as long as I'm still here, this one's clever. That's what she needs to do. She just needs to stand there and be patient until I'm done. Okay? Now, what I would recommend you do to make it real easy is I would give them a voice cue. When my dog is being released from a lay down cue or something, I say, okay. What I would recommend you do is you just go, you're walking out of here. You're not quite clear yet. See? Haven't given him the cue. So see, I looked at her and I walked towards the part of the body on the horse that was doing the infraction. And it was her nose. So then she stepped away. She's looking over there. The other 3 here are waiting patiently. Let me get all the way away. Hold your horses. And then I would say, okay. And I'd walk out. Now they can come eat. Does that feel pretty doable to you?
Oh, yeah. A lot easier than what I was doing.
Now let's see how long it takes them to come back here. You see how they're all being very polite? They're inspecting it. Buckskin's like, am I sure I'm allowed to come up here? Now, I don't know about you, but that seems like a pretty good safe option.
Oh.
Of course. I like how well your herd gets along where they're not pushing on each other.
The This is pretty good. Sometimes they push a little bit, but not much more than this.
So occasionally you'll have one horse that's not being very nice to the other ones and it's driving them away more. Right. And then you could take charge over that situation and you could say, no, I'm the herd leader here. You can eat there, you can eat there, you can eat there. And you could manage that. You might have to stay there and wait for them to all finish before you walk out. So some people watching this video might go, well, okay, that's fine and dandy for me, but what about this other horse that they're pushing away? Right. And that space is too small.
And usually that does happen.
And what I'm saying is you could control the whole time, not just, I just controlled delivering the feed. And then I stepped away and said, okay, have at it, guys. Right. I could stay in there and I could be even pickier and go, you over there, you over there, you over there. Everybody go to your spots. And then I go, okay, now you can eat, and that's it. Yeah, they do that at night when they come in. Literally, they each have their own stall. Dog training, that's how you like dogs. If you got to feed several dogs at one time and have enough fight. So it's basically like you just got to a point where you needed to be a little safer with this and take a little control. You're kind of getting away with it, but now it's like, okay, I need to. Yeah, they were crowding me at the gate here, and I couldn't even like get in with the barrel or get in with their grain at all. I want this. I want you to go push them off their feed, and I want them to just go stand, okay, 6 to 10 feet away from the feeder. Now you have to find the right amount of pressure. I don't want you to scare the bejeebers out of them. I just want you to go in and put enough pressure on that they yield away from you. Okay. Perfect. Push them off, all of them. Good. Perfect. Now just sit there. We'll just wait. And then when you're ready, you can say the okay and you can walk out. And you just say the word okay? Yeah, I think a voice cue like that, it makes sense in this scenario. If you were going to be more specific about who got to eat where, when, you could maybe do a hand gesture. In that Ron Pine video, you're going to see him give the horses a cue to lower their head. This is my cue when a horse can eat grass. If they're with me and I'm hanging out, my horses don't take over to eat grass until I say, okay, you can have it. Okay. And so you'd say, okay, and then we walk out. Now, the question I have for you is, they will learn to wear this. And this is the part that a lot of people doesn't tell everybody. So this is working because they're sensitive to it. But if you come out here every day, eventually they might get a little bit used to it, potentially. They may not, but it's possible that they do. That's when you'd have to have the stick and string. And if one says, no, I'm not moving today, will you back that up and go towards them and tap them with the stick and string? Will I do that? Will you do that? Absolutely. All right. Because that's what you're going to have to do. Yeah. Now, they are a little too close to us right now. So we either need to give them the okay and we need to get out of here, or we need to hold them accountable to we haven't told them to come in yet. Okay. I'm fine. They're good. Yep. All right. Say okay. Okay. And we'll head out. But you need to be really specific about that, okay? Yeah. Because like right there, we were chatting and then we kind of just let them come in. But that's where I'm saying it starts. And so yeah, it's just a matter of holding them accountable. And I would say those of you at home watching, especially if you have kids that are feeding and not paying attention, it's like, I think there's like a statistic that most people get in a car accident like within 5 miles of their house or something. Right. And it's like we let our guard down because we're comfortable in our like regular environment. Right. And if you've owned these horses for a while and you get really used to them, we get a little complacent around them. And that's what I'm asking you to do, is to get a little more disciplined. And it's like, if these were 4 unruly horses that you never met before, and I told you these horses get up pushy and dangerous, you would have your alert up a little bit more when you walk in here. Right. And what happens is feeding time, we let our guard down. We're thinking about chores. We're thinking about, whatever we got to get done. And a lot of times we're in a hurry. And so we're just getting it done. We can't do that, especially for the next 5 days. Okay. Put together 5 training sessions in a row where you're really disciplined about this, and that will be a game changer. But the other thing I would do is you could bolt on a little piece of PVC. You could put your flag in your cart, and it's just in the cart. And then you just grab it whenever you're ready. And you have a designated, this is the cart flag. These flags are super cheap. You can buy these at a lot of stores. It doesn't even have to be the specific flag. You could grab a stick and put a plastic bag on the end, okay, folks? Everybody can get this done. This is not hard. And you need a dedicated feed cart flag. All right. That is not your training one that you have to go get. Because if it's inconvenient, if you got to go walk to the arena to go get your tool, you're not going to do it. No. But it's like, if it's already in your cart and it just lives there and it's just with you wherever you go with your feeding time, you're prepared.
Yep. Well, thank you so
Does that
much.
sound like a plan?
Yes, I'm excited.
All right.
Yep.
So what did you learn from that? What's your takeaways?
That they need to respect my space. They need to know when it's okay to come in to eat. I'm not going to get trampled when I walk through the gate. And hopefully I get some help.
And you're going to hold them accountable?
I am.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for letting us come out here and film
Yeah.
this. A lot of people aren't willing to put their situation out there and show everybody what's going on. But the
Yeah.
truth is, lots of people are having trouble with this.
Yeah.
And hopefully this video helps some people
I
out.
hope so too.
Thank you for letting us video it and share it with us. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one.